This is St Peter's Wellesbourne's daily reflection during Lent.
It's Wednesday, the 24th of February. Good from evil. Genesis chapter 50, verses 15 to 21. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" So they sent word to Joseph saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves," they said. But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them.
Revenge imprisons us. Forgiveness sets us free. So writes Robin Oake in Father, Forgive, when he recounts the story of how, in a press conference, shortly after his son was killed, he extended forgiveness to his son's murderer. The media were incredulous that a man could forgive someone they termed a terrorist. And although Robin shares how his tears came close to overwhelming him, he also points to a strength of will to forgive that he saw as a gift from the Lord. For this father, forgiveness would impart freedom from bitterness. Another life freed from resentment is that of Joseph. So much has happened since we saw him abandoned and sold for the price of a slave. After many years and hardships, he rose to prominence as Pharaoh's second in command, in charge of all of Egypt. Yet he never forgot his father and brothers, longing for them. When famine hit the land, with Joseph prepared for it through having interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, his brothers came to Egypt, wanting to buy grain. They didn't realize they were approaching their brother, whom they must have assumed was long dead. But Joseph knew and had mercy on them. He finally revealed himself with great emotion, embracing them and welcoming them to come and live with him. See Genesis chapter 45, verses 1 to 7. Jacob enjoyed the pleasure of being reunited with his beloved son and embracing and blessing his grandchildren. But after Jacob dies, the brothers start to fear for their lives, as Joseph could call for their ruin. Claiming the protection of their father, they ask Joseph to forgive their wrongdoing. We see the mature and grace-filled Joseph respond with open arms as they humble themselves before him. He assures them of his continued care and provision. Note, however, that although Joseph extends forgiveness indeed, he doesn't do so through his words, saying instead, and this is my paraphrase, "Who am I to forgive you? Am I God?" We see again that in the Old Testament, person-to-person forgiveness is rare, for the all-powerful Lord is the one who grants pardon. Joseph is not the source of forgiveness, but God's agent of it, as he extends grace and love to his family. Joseph also acknowledges the Lord's redemptive action throughout his life, which we looked at yesterday, when he says, God intended it for good, in verse 20. If Joseph hadn't been thrown into that cistern, and if he hadn't spent all those years in jail, he wouldn't have risen to prominence in Pharaoh's household at the opportune moment, with the influence to save his family and many others. As he surveys the past, he sees God's hand in bringing forth good from evil. May we too be granted this sense of objectivity when we look back over our lives, with its twists and turns, and what might seem to be trails going off into the wilderness. He who brought forth good in the life of Joseph's family can do so in ours too. And so our prayer for today. Lord God, you know that I fail, and that I suffer not only from my own wrongdoing, but from that of others, living as we do in a world that is not as you created it. I need your grace and mercy. I long for your peace and healing in a fractured world. May I be an agent of change as I pass along the gifts from your abundance, whether those unseen such as love, peace, grace, or joy, or material goods such as the grain that Joseph provided for his family. May these gifts bring forth softened and receptive hearts and renewed relationships. Amen.